Here with us to discuss is former Director of Communications Outreach for Hillary Clinton's campaign, Jess McIntosh. Jess, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
There's some new reporting from Axios that my colleague Poppy noted here that Trump allies are going to be framing Biden as a free-trading globalist who would undo the president's trade agenda. He obviously thinks that the trade fight, Mexico, Canada, EU, etc., China certainly is working for him. Is this going to be trouble for Joe Biden?
I think whoever the Democrats nominate, the Trump team is going to frame them as some sort of globalist. That's coded language from them, and we've seen them use it over and over again. So I think when we consider what Democratic candidates ought to do, how the Trump team is going to portray them probably shouldn't bother being part of the equation, since anybody who comes through is going to receive roughly the same treatment. Right. I think where Biden has challenges is that, any Democrat who was around in the 90s is going to have to answer for policies that are now totally anathema to the progressive movement. He has a longer record than most, and he has not evolved on all of the progressive issues that the base are really looking for yet, and that is where I see the difference.
Remember Hillary Clinton on voting for the Iraq War in 2008. Sure. That was a big, I don't know if it's a deciding factor, but aiding factor for Barack Obama's candidacy.
Absolutely.
Do you mean, for example, on the issue of abortion? One of our producers was pointing out to me this morning his continued support for the Hyde Amendment, which is obviously 4 decades old, but it says you can't use federal funds to fund abortions, and he is not opposed to that.
Yeah, that's deeply troubling and puts him completely out of step with most Democrats, most Americans, and absolutely the rest of the field. It is a flat-out discriminatory policy. What it says is that the women who can access safe and legal abortion are women who can either afford private insurance or pay for it out of pocket themselves, but not women who are poor. Imagine treating any other right that way. You're allowed to exercise that right if you can pay for it, but otherwise you're on your own. It's not a right at all. So the fact that he came out this morning to say that he's still in favor of this, which is news to most of us, is really quite shocking and something he's going to have to spend some time explaining.
Going to get a lot more attention.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be asked about that a lot.
I hope he is.
Biden rolled out his own climate change plan. Of course, he wants to work with Republicans on this. He's being attacked by some of his more left-leaning Democratic opponents on this as too moderate. But why is that a dirty word to propose a plan that would require political compromise when clearly you would need political compromise to pass any potential plan, right?
I don't think that political compromise is a dirty word. I would be hopeful that Republicans would come to the table on it. It's sort of everybody's planet. Theirs just as much as ours, so they should be just as invested.
We haven't found another place to live yet. Yeah.
They should be as invested in making sure that it is habitable as we are, but they are coming to this debate from a complete place of intellectual dishonesty. They are the people who are purporting to be climate change skeptics largely understand that the science is settled on this. They just know they have to go there for their base. So for Biden to lead by saying he wants to make sure that they're comfortable with what he's proposing, I think maybe undermines the urgency of the situation. This is a global crisis that we have to solve, whether Republicans want to be a part of the solution or not.
The president denied again this morning, denied the science once again.
I think that the tactic that Joe Biden and Senator Bernie Sanders are taking on talking to sort of working class, if you will, I don't really like that term, but working class America, is really interesting because it's sort of like Joe from Scranton, right? I get you, even though I'm a free trader. And Bernie Sanders is in Bentonville, Arkansas this morning at the Walmart shareholder meeting saying you should pay everyone at least $15 an hour. And by the way, you should put an employee, an hourly worker on your board. What do you think resonates more within the Democratic Party right now?
I think Bernie taking it to Walmart on behalf of the workers is a great look for him and super resonant with the Democratic Party right now. I'm excited to see that part of the campaign. The fact that he can use his platform as he's running to possibly affect social change even before we have a nominee, I think that's a great way to spend the next few months of this very protracted primary.
A sitting president might call that a victory if he gets it before the election. Not a bad thing to have on his resume.
Interesting.
Jess McIntosh, thanks very much. Always good to have you.